Welcome to episode 100 of the BEBC BS Podcast.
Woo-wee. Golden episode.
Amply named by my lovely wife so many years ago.
Aww.
So kudos to Sherry for naming this podcast when we started 2017, fellas.
Really?
Yes.
It's amazing
my
how
oldest daughter graduated. Good.
See, we started talking about her and you didn't know. For those of you who don't recognize and don't know, we are honored this morning to have with us the president. How do y'all word it? Board of Trustees. So you're
I'm
the
the president of the Board of Trustees.
of
That's right.
Allen ISD.
That's right.
Amy Gnadt is with us this morning.
Good
to help
morning, everybody.
celebrate.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here.
The seat next to me is empty, but will soon be filled by the late arriving superintendent of schools for Allen ISD, Dr. Robert Bullock will be here. And so y'all
You have to
give
send
her,
her to the principal's office?
yes. Commish, that'll be on you. Dish out the There you go. In fact, you need to let her know when she walks in.
Yeah.
We have got a jam-packed full show today,
Yep.
and it's we need to go ahead and get started.
Yep.
So, James,
We're going to go ahead and kick it off.
dial up our first guest. We're going to talk a lot of school stuff, a lot of coach stuff,
Let me
and
see
our
if
first
that's
guest
his,
is
let me see if this is the right number.
Be boss pizza.
that's awesome. Is that the right number?
Oh, hang on.
Oh no! This
Hang
is
on.
starting off great.
Execution.
Oh, no, here we go.
Come on, James.
Here we go. Now we got it.
Joining us here in just a second, hopefully.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
Coach Corey Cain is joining us.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
Man, we're doing great. How are you this morning?
I'm fantastic. Thank you.
Hey, big win last night. Pulled the upset.
We did. We got to play in the rain and then win a game. It was fun.
And now, was that homecoming for you guys?
No, sir. It was senior night.
Oh,
We
okay.
had, the last send-off there at Bearcat Stadium.
Perfect.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys are going to be in some new.
So how many senior football players did you have on your team?
We have 25.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we, as you know, this is our 100th episode of this podcast, and we apologize for never having you on. I know we talked about it for years, and so we said, who do we want to have on this that would just kind of reminisce with us for a few minutes and that we enjoy and was one of our favorites. For those of you who don't know who Corey Cain is, he coached at Allen 15 years. Is that right, Corey?
Yes, sir. 15.
42 years.
No. We're not talking about ADs.
And Corey has left and is now the head coach up at Sherman, the Sherman Bobcats. But we just wanted to Bearcats. Golly, I was thinking Sam Houston State. Anyhow, one of them
That's
cats.
all right. I talked to Jordy Kaufman nearly every day, and for 2 years he's called us the Bobcats.
Well, now I don't feel so bad then, Coach. So, well, how is life in Sherman for you?
Oh, we're having a blast. We actually have 6 former Allen coaches up here coaching with us, and we're having fun, man. It's joy to go to work every day.
You can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah.
So when you look back on your 15 years at Allen,
Yes, sir.
there's a lot of things to talk about.
We had an amazing 15 years. I reminisced with James a little bit when he reached out, and it's a very, very special place. And I think when you're there and you're on that roller coaster, of all the emotions that go into it, you enjoy it, but you don't know how much you did enjoy it. And then when you step away from it and you're away from it a little bit, you realize how special it was. And I wish them all the luck, but I don't know that there's going to be another 15-year run like the one that we went through. That was absolutely amazing.
It was pretty magical. And so you ended up coming to Allen. Tell us a little bit of the start and kind of any special memories you've got.
Yeah, I got there in 2006. It was a pretty crazy deal. I was kind of the second choice, but hey, I'll take it. I got there and, Coach Westerberg had hired another guy, and for whatever reason, he had some things go on and couldn't make it. And Coach Westerberg called me up. I had actually, not many people know this, I'd actually taken a job at McKinney Boyd and was on staff there for a month in the spring, and had gone over there and kind of worked through the spring with them as it was going to be their first year to open their new school. And anyways, Coach Westerberg called, and I'm like, golly, man, I just took this job, and I'm over there. And of course, he knew what he was doing. He said, "Oh, just come on in here and look around the place, and we don't have to tell anybody. We'll just talk." You know, he knew as soon as you walk into Allen, you don't say no. And so I walked in there, and of course, it was amazing. So yeah, I got there in 2006, and we had a heck of a run in 2006, you know, going to the semis, and kind of never slowed down from there.
Yeah, that was the Nathan Dick era, and I guess we were running into the buzzsaw that was South Lake Carroll, and then we ended up being, I guess, DeSoto's buzzsaw. You had some enjoyment giving Coach Claude Mathis fits, didn't you?
Every time he sees me to this day, he still says that, and he uses some expletives, but he says that you got my ring. So I said, no, I got 3 of them.
And you're not giving them back, right?
Somebody
Heck
came
no.
into your house
I'll let him look at them, though.
Well, hey, and you also saw a lot of kids go through and get recruited and stuff. You had a monument, I think, that not many people kind of knew about, but you would get those mini helmets of the school that all those kids were going to. You got any details on that, or are you still doing that?
Still doing it. It's it started off there in 2006. My wife, happened to be over at Eagle Designs or something, and saw an Arizona helmet that was, at the time exactly what our Allen helmet looked like, and so she bought that. And then signing day came around, and I looked at it, and it just kind of made sense. I thought, man, I'm gonna go get a mini helmet for. Let's see, in 2006, I think we had Tyler Crane went to Missouri, and David Hong went to Navy. Charles Pescieton went up to Tulsa or whatnot. And so I went and bought mini helmets for each of those guys who went to one of those schools and had them sign it. And that thing grew, and it is ginormous now. And now it's kind of the wall of inspiration, wall of fame, whatever you want to call it. But honestly, I don't know how many helmets I have up there. There's a bunch, and I got to get me a Chicago Bears one now that Jalen Jones has made the team up there, and so I've already texted with him, and he's excited to come sign a new helmet.
Who did? Who made it?
That's
Jalen
awesome.
Jones.
Yep. So Jalen Jones, you've had some other great defensive backs. Tell us about Stephen Terrell and that 2008 championship run. A little bit about that and some of your memories.
Oh my goodness, 2008 was amazing. 2007 we lost way too early, and it was really a testament to those kids.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Where's Matt Brown? We're still mad about that. Dan Buckner and Matt Brown and those guys.
Everybody is, but those kids had amazing class, and some other kids that people don't think about. Matt McBride was such a great leader, and who else we have in there? Cody Milam and Uzoma Wachiku, and all those guys. They went to work that off season. They worked their rear ends off, and sure enough, you look up and we're playing Euless Trinity, who was #1 in the nation at the time, and playing for a second time, and beat their rears over at the old Cowboys Stadium, and
with a backup quarterback.
It was intense and fun, and
awesome.
and then you look up and you're in the semifinals. I guess we were down in Waco.
Yep, that's it.
Point.
Yeah,
Round Rock,
playing against Stony Point, and the wind was blowing about 100. And gosh, on Friday, we look up and we have a chance to win it at the end. And Tucker Carter, I believe, dropped one into Dakari Pichakonis for the win. Stephen Terrell actually had that huge pick six in that game.
Anytime.
And old Nate Bonsu.
Oh, man.
Nate just clearing the way and smoking the quarterback. That's what he done.
Right in front of your sideline, too.
I remember that.
Holy moly. And there was, that's when Cole Carter, who was it? Harrison, Doc's son. Those were the ball boys, and those two suckers were running with Stephen Terrell all the way down the sidelines, talking mess all the way up and down that sideline. It was amazing. And then you look up in the state championship game, and you know, we go down 7-0 and turn around and we're up 21-7, and tell the kicker, whatever you do, don't kick it to that guy over there. And the wrong guy, and he nearly ran it back. Just all kinds of crazy cool things, but to win the game was awesome. Coach Gamble was the defense coordinator at that time, and he was on the headset. Just as the clock's ticking down, he is screaming, just screaming. They don't know how to run the 2 minute. They're struggling because they were still running plays in from the sideline and huddling. And he's just screaming, boy. It was a pretty awesome moment.
Yeah, and so I guess kind of wrapping things up a little bit, you've seen the evolution of Alan, but now you're kind of going through a little bit of evolution. Your oldest is starting to play, and I guess tell us about the feeling of having one of your kids potentially playing for you and being able to coach your own son. Yeah,
it's as a coach, it's something you dream of. It's something that I've dreamed of forever, of getting to coach my boys. And honestly, I had an old veteran coach. I talked to him at the beginning of the season. He gave me some great advice. He's like, let someone else coach your son, the good and the bad, because he's in a no-win situation if I'm over there coaching him, And so I let the other guys coach him. I just get to be down there on the sideline to high-five, knuckle bump, and hug, So it's awesome. And they're having a little success up here and having a whole lot of fun. And, every now and again when I hear a play call, I'll get my phone out and I'll get a sideline video of it because I know what's coming. So that's the benefit, and then I get to ride to school and back home every day with my kiddo, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's great. Hey, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing just a little bit. Maybe we'll get another chance to visit with you. But
guys, I'll visit with you anytime you want, man. I love you guys. And
still one of our faves.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy.
We'll come up there for another game here soon.
Yeah.
Oh, please do.
We got Kris in that new BEBC Stadium in Sherman, Texas.
We'll do a little better than we did last year.
Awesome. Y'all were really hospitable, so thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
We appreciate
it.
Yeah, appreciate
Y'all
you.
take care. I'll find you and see you soon.
All right, buddy.
Awesome.
See ya.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. There he goes, Coach Corey Cain, Sherman Bobcats.
Bearcats.
Woo, that's so sad.
Creature of habit.
Yeah, I tell you what, this senility is
And
getting
you call
bad.
me old.
Yeah, it's awesome. Dr.
That
Bullock,
shirt he's
welcome.
wearing.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna
Come on up to the table, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm gonna call party foul on myself. We didn't introduce the commish, and we need to introduce the commish because the commish runs this joint. Back here, Jackie Holcomb. She is our party foul
Enforcer. Yeah. Rules.
We got a late fee you owe. We'll let you know what it is.
That's empty. We need some money.
There you go.
We got lots of things we got to pay for.
I don't know. This is pretty fancy.
Yeah, it's time to call Coach Wig. Let's see how his tone is this morning. We'll get on the phone.
Better get the swear jar out.
Same as always.
We let him know y'all are here so he doesn't.
Yeah. How about that administration?
Yeah, for real.
Hello.
Coach
Hey,
Wig.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dude, welcome to episode number 100 of this silliness we call our podcast.
Yeah.
And-
Congratulations to you guys on that.
Well, thank you. Just to let you know, because we know how bad you talk about administrators, we have Dr. Bullock and Amy Gnadt are sitting right here with us this morning. So
But you can pretend like they're not here.
anything you say may, can, will be used against
We
you.
will.
It will be.
Yeah, we got 5 ladies present.
Yeah. So I always want to warn people just in case.
I would.
Yeah.
Well, and I was late, and so I'm in trouble.
She got fined this morning for being late, Coach. So we don't mess around in this club.
No, I know you don't.
Well, another tough night, and I just want to start out with, how do you deal with the kids when you have a weather situation like that? Because we know how it is for us, and y'all are amped up and ready to go. And how do you keep everybody focused, or what did y'all do?
Yeah, it's tough. And it was just terrible timing because every time, we knew the lightning was coming. We were watching and you can see it, but until it actually strikes, you gotta assume it's not going to happen. So and each of the times that we came out, we're looking and we're saying, man, it's just right there. It's about to hit again. So like you said, that first time you get them all fired up. We have our pregame talk. We're really excited. Get out there and literally about to walk out the door, and they call that off, right? Or the lightning strikes. So then the focus was immediately of, okay, how do you get them to relax and calm down, right? Because you don't want them sitting there for 30 minutes all amped up, and now they're burning all that energy, So it's just a couple of different things, we just just a couple of little things that we were trying to do to one, keep them nutrition in them, and then two, just keep them relaxed. Just wanted their pads off, shoes off, just try to get them relaxed. And but then same thing, it gets down to the count, and we're looking at it, and we see strikes right on the edge that they're coming, but they're not hitting yet. So then we get up and know, okay, you got to stretch, you got to do those things. And it was tough, but we also, we anticipated it this week, right? So, and looking at it, we said, all right, Friday's going to be terrible. So it's something that we talked about starting on Monday and said, this is going to be a game week of adversity, and there's going to be things that we can't control. And, the message all week was, the weak will use that as an excuse, and the strong will use that to their advantage. And it's just something that we tried to harp on, and felt like the kids did an outstanding job with it, to be honest. I thought that they're very, very frustrated when you have to come back in, but I also thought they did a great job in doing that and just staying relaxed, staying focused, and being ready when it finally came.
And then you get to game time, and you get the ball first, and on the second play, Micah Ellis rips off a long touchdown run.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
Well, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
Because Prosper's known for their defense. And I thought last night y'all moved the ball pretty well between the 30s, and then things just kind of didn't get done after that. You didn't finish.
No, we didn't, but again, you what you touched on, you couldn't be more proud for that young man. You bounce back after a huge injury to a really big offensive leader, and to see a next man up mentality, the next back go in there and just really get things started off well. That particular play was blocked so well from the tackle box to receiver downfield blocking, and great vision and burst by him. Just a really, really good start. And like you said, I thought we moved the ball throughout the night for the most part, but then just struggling in the red zone, and that's been something we struggled with this entire year. Really on both sides of the ball, we haven't been able to get stops in the red zone, and we finally did that last night. But just struggling getting the ball in the end zone down there, and against this defense, they just handled that situation better than we did.
Not much to say, is it?
No.
No, and a lot of things kind of went wrong. I mean, you've got to be able to adjust to that. The way the ball bounces, hits are awkward, etc. It seemed like the refs were conspiring against us, so you don't need to talk negative about the refs, but we'll do that.
Well, I didn't feel like there were, I didn't feel like that in any way, really. Obviously, as Allen Eagle fans, like you are and I am, we want every flag to be against them. But I didn't feel like that there was calls that were, just bad calls. I thought that crew might have been a little flag happy. I didn't think that there was bad calls at all. We had plenty opportunities, and just didn't get it done. But again, you go back and you look at that getting into the fourth quarter even, and that was the message, at halftime is, and the kids they're bummed because we really have, you go into halftime after the long delay and you really feel like you're probably down about 80 points, right? Because you came out and you had such a great first quarter, but that becomes a distant memory at the the miserableness of our second quarter.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going in and you just feel like, golly, this is really, really bad. And the reality is you're right there in a 6-point game, you know. So, you know, I thought the kids came out in the second half and battled well, and again, had opportunities, you know, got down there inside the 5, first and goal inside the 5, you know, middle of the fourth with a chance to go and make it a 1-score game, and knowing that if we get a good kick and pin them deep, our defense is going to find a way to get a stop for us and get it back, and we just didn't get that one in, which was tough, really tough, because you turn around and you get, you know, like you want, you get a stop and punch it in a little bit later, but again, you know, it wasn't anything that, you know, I'm proud of our coaches, the work they did throughout the game. You know, I'm disappointed that, you know, I didn't have a better approach to just finding a way to do that, to punch those buttons to get it in. You know, we knew, you know, in a pregame meal right after I talked to you guys and going down there at pregame meal and I'm talking to special teams, that whole message was that the game will be won by special teams, and sadly it was. I just, you know, hoped it was going to be won the other way around.
Yeah, and so go ahead.
Coach, I just wanted to ask, like with a weather delay game like that, and knowing that the bands aren't going to come out, is there discussion between you and the other head coach of maybe shortening halftime, or is that just something y'all want to keep consistent, and so you can have your time to meet with the kids or anything like that?
No, absolutely. You know, and even during the delay, you know, as the delay gets longer, discussion comes. Okay, well, what would you do if we're able to play it tonight? What do you want on halftime? You know, and so that discussion occurred during delays. Actually, you know, my comment was I would prefer let's kind of drop it to 20 minutes. I think you still need to give the kids plenty of rest and time to get in there, but 20 from 28 makes things better on what's been a really, really long night.
Right.
Then you get into the thing when you're out there, and, you know, typically you see a halftime will be 28 or 24 minutes. So as we're going into the game and it gets halftime and they're going, and they asked, and I said I'm really, really good with 24 minutes, and their coach wanted 28.
Okay.
You know, just to be honest, really, if, you know, I'm not going to be difficult and things, and he asked for 28, and we told him, if you need 28, that's fine.
Well, selfishly, I was hoping for one more weather delay before the game started because I was working last night, and I almost could have made the kickoff. Fort Worth at 10:30 last night. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the things we want to do is transition a little bit away from the game and get into legacy, and that's kind of what we've started off the podcast, and what we're focusing on is, you know, a lot of the stuff that Alan has gone through and the memories, and you're starting to build them. We see a lot of really good things in terms of, you know, working with the community and getting the football kids out to support the band at their competitions.
Really cool.
You want to talk about kind of what your plans are and how you see that? I know it's important to you.
Well, I mean, what I see is, you know, just what an honor it is to be a part of the greatest football program in the world, you know, and you talk about that legacy, and, you know, kids are competitors, and, you know, you talk about losing a game and upset, but when you think about the legacy, you know, what I think about is how bad these kids hurt last night because of that, and I'll get into your question, but, you know, I mean, when we talk about this, you know, we've talked about it earlier this year, we talked about this summer with you guys, that these kids are under a lot of pressure, you know, and, you know, it's, you know, they want to do everything they can to win every game. Obviously, you know, they don't go out and practice to try to lose. They go out and practice to try to win, but also because of the greatness of Alan, right, they want to bring honor to all those athletes and all those coaches and all those fans that have been so supportive of Alan over the years. So, you know, they're frustrated after a loss and they're sad, but they're also, you know, disappointed because there's a part of them and part of us that feels like, you know, you let, you know, Allen Eagle Nation down, you know, and that's sad to me because it's there's none of them. There's not a coach up here or a kid up there that did that other than me, and I take, you know, that fully on me. But it's just really sad for me to see, you know, the kids, because I know that weighs on them. But in terms of, you know, what we try to do and hope to do just to continue that is just just to do that, just to bring honor to all those that came before, and finding ways to celebrate them and to bring them back into the mix and get them up here around these young kids so they can tell the stories of that greatness so it doesn't get lost and forgotten. But also just to continue to build upon it, like you said, just to multiple ways of reaching out to the youth who's going to be the next generation of that legacy, and finding ways to keep them excited about wanting to be an Allen Eagle, because when you talk to those alumni, that's, what you'll hear is there a complacency, or is there an entitlement, that we just think we should win because we're Allen, and back, what they would tell you is back then that before the wins occurred is that it was just, everything we can do to get on the map, everything we can do to fight for wins. And what I see is our kids doing that. From the outside, you see that you're not winning like you were, and you're like, well, they're just not trying. They just think they're going to win, and that's that. So continuing to build on that mindset, but then supporting the other programs is just something that when you talk about the legacy again of the program, it's the legacy of this community, right? It's the fans, it's all the greatness, it's the largest band in the world. It's just all those things that make Allen High School, Allen ISD, and certainly Allen Eagle football what it is. So just finding different ways to support them, but also to let them know that we realize what a huge part of this they are.
Yeah, that's all really good stuff, Coach. And it's cool that in your short time here, you've already picked up on all that. So that's really cool. Couple things I want to tell you, first of all, because we're looking back on 100 episodes here. And your episode with us this summer ended up being, as it stands right now, the second most viewed episode ever of this podcast. So you got a draw out there.
That's awesome. You got 10.
Yeah. You got 10.
Yeah.
No, and you only lost out to an NFL player, so I'll let that's pretty good. So
thank you for that information, but let's trade that in for a victory here.
Hey, we'll gladly do that, but we'll leave that up to you because we're out of eligibility here on our end. All right, last week, brother, I hate to tell you, I was ready to take you to Vegas before your picks.
Yeah.
And then you went 0-4 last week.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we didn't go.
Yeah. No.
So we're going to drop it. We're going to drop it down to 3 games this week, and first one's a big one in the Big Ten. Ohio State's traveling to Penn State.
Yeah. Well, so what happened last week, and you kept calling that out, is I was going with my gut, and they were all road teams.
Yep.
And all those home teams win. So I'm going to show you how, and you're seeing this by the way I coach, and what you see is that, man, is he just ignorant and doing the same thing over and over and over again? I'm going with Ohio State road team again.
Okay.
Awesome. My
daughter will appreciate that since she works for them. Okay, Ohio State's visiting Kansas State today.
Not
Oklahoma State.
I'm sorry, OSU.
And Bearcats. It's the whole thing.
Bobcats.
Oh, my God.
Hey, it was a long night, okay?
It's
still wet.
Yeah, man, and I'm going to go with the home team there. I'll go with Kansas State.
Okay. Did you see how quickly everybody around the table jumped on me there, though?
What they realize is they've listened to all 100 episodes of your podcast, and they see how quickly you jump on people. So
touche.
Great call out.
Dad, good, man. No more chili for you.
We don't know what you're talking about.
All right, we pulled one out of the SEC for you. Kentucky's headed to Tennessee. This is a softball.
It's a slaughter fest.
Yeah, Tennessee for sure.
All right.
Don't be so sure.
Well, Coach, Little Elm next week. I think you have your playoff opponent. That's finalized now, right? Louisville?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yes, think so.
Yeah. So Little Elm next Friday.
Yeah.
Even though Ian said it was Thursday, as we left the stadium last night, so that confused.
Well, a lot of so what happened is when they met, I guess last January or so as a district, most of them decided to play that last game on a Thursday.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you an extra day to get ready for the playoffs. But Little Elm, and I think both Little Elm and Allen had different head coaches at the time, but they wanted to keep it on Friday. Little Elm, not Allen. Little Elm did for I don't know if they if they thought it might be their last game anyway and wanted to extend the season or whatever. But it's
we understand.
It's Friday. Yep.
Well, we appreciate you being part of this and part of the program, and we'll let's go get them Friday night and head into the playoffs on a victory. All right?
Yes, sir, we will. And again, thank you for the role you guys play in the legacy of Allen Eagle football.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Have a good day, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Y'all too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There he goes, Coach Wig, his weekly call with us, and man, he's just got good stuff.
You know, from a district standpoint, from a school board standpoint, one of the things I love about him is he's just bringing a new foundation of tradition. I love that. He's met with parents. He's engaged his football players to support our band. That, you would not believe the messages I'm hearing from my families that are in the band program. They were thrilled about that. And so, it's just really a great message. I'm so pleased to have him on board. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Great staff,
Yes,
too.
he is.
He's been really good
Great
with
addition.
us, and he's, like I say, he stops by the tailgate going in, coming to their
Yeah.
team meal,
Yeah.
and yesterday he stopped and had chili on top of his lasagna and everything.
I know, because I was
like,
sitting next to the coach's
Probably
house last
enjoyed the
night,
extra time in
and
the
they
locker
bring a
room
ton of
before the
food.
game
I mean, they must
started.
eat all night long. I don't know. They're got it going on.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. I thought
Hey, Robin. Yeah.
My voice is awful. It's been like this
Aw.
for
Right?
3 weeks. I know it's bad. I've even been drinking water, so I apologize.
No, it's okay. We want to see at your worst.
Well, this would almost be it. This would almost be it.
We told Amy before we started that the way we've got a bunch of calls today, and we're
Okay.
going to work you guys in between that, because one, we didn't want to overload you with a ton of different stuff,
Oh,
but we wanted you to be
we're
part
good.
of this, because y'all
Thank
been
you.
very good to us over the years as we've done this nonsense, and we appreciate y'all giving us some latitude here and there. Here's a great example, people. Last night we had two guys, Trevor and his father-in-law, Richard, from Connecticut,
Oh,
showed up at our
cool.
tailgate.
Yeah.
And the son-in-law, Trevor, works at a jail.
Yeah. Up
He
there in
knew the place
Connecticut.
to go.
Yeah.
He saw y'all and he was like, oh gosh.
He told us he spent 40 hours on YouTube and the internet researching Allen football, because him and his father-in-law take a trip every year to somewhere, and they said, we want to go to Texas. It'll be November. It'll be warm. and so he had a buddy that was on a newspaper staff in Connecticut, and he called him and said, hey, if I go to Texas, I'm going to Dallas, which game should I go see? And the guy says, you got to go to Allen. And so they came to Allen, and so they got there, they parked right by us, and they spent all the time at the tailgate. We hung out, we talked a lot, and then during the rain delay, and this is the reason I'm saying this, they were sitting there, they were just, in awe. The stadium blows everybody away. And
It does.
so I got to thinking, we're sitting here, there's nothing going on. I'm going to call Amy and see if she'll let me slide them up to the press box. And so
Show off a little bit.
and
Cool.
graciously,
cool.
you said,
Of
bring them on up,
course.
and they got up there, and of course that view from the
It's
deck
a-
up there is ridiculous. You really get a perspective.
We wouldn't know.
See Nacogdoches.
No, we've
Up there.
been there.
Yeah. No, never mind. I'll get into that later. Just the view from up there gives you a different perspective on the grandeur of that place. And they were just blown away by it, and so thank you for letting that
Of course,
happen.
we had a lot of visitors to the press
That
box
was packed up there last night because it was
Well,
raining.
it was because it was raining, and we also had our leadership ISD group up there. And that's
Wow.
a big group of folks. There's 25 of them plus their guests.
Yep.
So that was the majority of the folks that were
Yep.
there. And all of those folks were just like you said, the first time they'd ever been up there. They were so impressed and oohing and awing, and
Yeah.
it was a great message because we all own it. It's not like it's not mine. Not
And y'all
ours.
have never been up there?
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah,
have.
we have.
Okay, I was just gonna say.
Now,
No one has to. Been up.
no one has. It has.
I say first
Go up
game,
there
you
whenever I
give
want
the
to.
invites out.
I'm the one in charge, so
You give
yeah.
them
I mean, if
out.
you haven't gotten an invite, that's why.
Thank you.
I love you being here.
So now the group that you were mentioning, that's like the long range visioning committee that you bring in. Is that
Well,
what
we
that
do this
is, or-
thing on an annual basis where people can apply to be in this group called Leadership Allen ISD, and it's a 9-month program. They come in and meet once a month, and they just learn more about the district. And it gives the intent of this is our 6th year to do this. The intent is to hopefully have potential board members that may be interested in participating in a higher level. Maybe some people that have young children in the district that might want to serve in some capacity. And that way when we have informed electorate, that's what this is about.
Sure.
And so it's very, very successful. We had 70 people apply, and we had to narrow it down to 25. And so
How do they apply? Where do
they
they
go
go?
online. It's all
Okay.
online. We have a thing called Eagle Engagement with a lot of different opportunities for people to engage. We also offer a program which you might apply for. It's called the Silver Eagle Program.
We had them approach us.
Of us that are in that 60 and over, which I am in that class too.
Oh, you don't look a day over 50. Come on.
Sell yourself short.
Anyway, so we're trying to reach out and make sure that
Yeah.
we're touching all the different stakeholders here in Allen. So
That's
if we
awesome.
have opportunities for bonds or we need support for something,
Yeah.
then we know who to go to.
Yeah.
So we have a whole strategy behind it.
Yeah, I want to do this because I've been thinking about how we're going to incorporate you two guys, and what I thought of. Don't freak out.
Oh, I'm not freaking. My throat just sounds
She
awful.
sent me a text
We're
today.
pinning the
Can I
tail
get,
on the
can I
donkey.
get questions? I'm like, no, I'm not sending you questions.
I did not even ask.
But we all have jobs, and work is work, and Sherry will tell you, I'll wake up 4 in the morning and start thinking about work, and I won't go back to bed.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I know you have an outside job because you're a volunteer. You're
Right.
not a paid employee. You're a paid employee. These days, we've got about 8 minutes, so each of you can answer this before we got to make our next call.
Okay.
What's keeping you up at night as it relates to the district? I know that can be a lot of different things, but if you had, 1 or 2 items that as you look out, and what keeps you up right now?
You're right. There's a lot of things. I went to bed at 2:00 this morning, and so there's a lot of things that keep me up. Obviously the financial situation that we found ourselves in from a funding perspective at the state level is quite the challenge of 3,000 empty elementary seats across the district, and having to have conversations about repurposing elementary schools, and so that's got the community rightfully so. Emotionally,
Sure.
charged. And so we'll work through some of that stuff. Obviously, safety and security is a issue that we deal with each and every day. We're responsible for keeping almost 22,000 students and 3,000 staff members safe. And so we don't take that lightly, of course. And so those are some things. And just the overall discourse, it seems, from just people, being pretty aggressive and pretty hateful at times. We talked about it this week with our campus principals. They're just dealing with aggressive behaviors from parents and adults that they've never dealt with before. And so it's just a different time. And so just trying to manage through that and try to deal with these things as they occur is something that we just work through.
Yep.
On the politics side of the house, we're seeing the politicization, I can't say the right word, for in school boards. Kids are not. This is not a policy. This is not a political arena. These are our kids.
Yeah.
We want to educate
Right.
our kids, but people are bringing in their opinions on the right. They're bringing their opinions on the left. They're all very extreme. They believe and they have these extreme conspiracy theories in their head that something's going on, and we're indoctrinating our kids. And I'm like, I don't see it. Prove it to me. Show me what you're talking about. And of course, there's no evidence of that, obviously. And so it's a challenge to continue to keep our message on task and make sure that they know we're talking about our kids, all of our kids. This is public ed. This is also the threat of public ed. The public ed is under threat by our legislators. They're coming after us with vouchers. They're coming out. They're going to peel off money and give it to kids that want to go to private school. You could just let me start bringing on that. And so, from our perspective, because that's part of our responsibility outside of the governance of the district, is to work with our legislators. And they're very resistant because they're all just lockstep on what they believe that their message needs to be. And so it's very hard for them to understand that public ed is here to stay, and they need to fund it appropriately, and they need to get over it.
It's amazing how politicians have forgotten that they work for the people and not. And I'm talking about the people that you have to deal with
Right.
at the state.
Well, I know that they are challenged. I talked to Leach and I talked to Candy, and they're challenged because that public ed is a small part of the pie, even though it's a big percentage of their revenue, what they fund every year. But there's other things they have to be, looking at as well. But for a perfect example of this is we are required to go to full day pre-K. You may have heard that, and that's part of the reason why we're looking at doing a consolidated centralized campus because it'll be a more effective way to be able to take care of 3 and 4-year-old kids. They're this big. And so,
Literally this big.
Yeah.
besides the fact they're going full day, guess what? That doggone legislators only pay us for a half day. I guess because the kids are small. I don't know. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we're fighting that. I don't know why that would ever be something that they would think was a good idea. So we have to go down there, get in front of the committee, rail on them about what's that about, and see if we get adequate funding. This is what we mean by adequate funding. It's just these little nuances, and then it's an unfunded mandate. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So we got to open all day long. It's the same amount of administrators, and we only get paid a half day. It's a good example.
Yeah. Well, it tells me the way Coach Wig is focused and some of the stuff that we're focused on, we need to make this a more cohesive discuss between community members. Need to make it a more of a community. And it's never going to be 100%. You're always going to have dissension on one side or the other. But the more we know each other, the more we talk to each other,
Right.
the better off it is. And you guys have to fight, in both directions to try and do what's best for the kids and what's best for the district. So that's a tough spot.
Well, and it gets tougher as the community gets more diverse too.
Yeah.
And that is
and
true.
it gets bigger.
Yeah,
And
we have a lot of folks that live here that were born in foreign countries, don't even understand what PTA is. And so we got our challenges to be able to, welcome those folks
Engage
and
them.
get them engaged.
Welcome them,
and
exactly.
educate. It's all about education, because knowledge, and you hear people say this all the time, knowledge is the best thing you could have. Because the more you know, and sometimes it's better just to sit and listen.
Yeah.
You were fixing to say something.
Yeah, but you don't want to hear it.
Well, and you said foreign countries, and that's on top of all the people moving in from New York and California.
Right,
Those are
because they
foreign
don't
countries.
have,
Those are foreign
yeah,
foreign points of views.
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing. So, the only thing right now we've got for November, we have some big decisions that are going to be made relative to this reshuffling of seats. So
Right.
I know that Robin is under all this, but it's really a 3-pronged situation. So we need to shuffle some seats. We need to move some kids out of schools where we have too many kids and move them to other schools where there are not as many kids, right? So that's the first thing. The other thing is we have empty seats, which means we have some schools that are running at 45% occupancy, 50% occupancy. We got to consolidate those, right? Because that's crazy. You can't have a principal at a halfway, school that's only got half the kids in it. So that needs to be consolidated. So that's part of that repurposing, looking at what we want to do, making sure that it's your tax dollars we're trying to manage here, and make sure that we are effectively addressing that as well. And then the last thing is, of course, the pre-K thing. A lot of folks are telling us, oh, why don't you just take these 3 and 4-year-olds and put them in each one of the elementary schools? Well, you put a 3-year-old in the cafeteria of a 6th grade cafeteria. What do you have? A little 3-year-old that can barely reach the table. So it doesn't really work that way. So that's the other reason why we can, downsize, and I mean literally, physically downsize that consolidated campus to, since we have little tiny chairs and little tiny bathrooms and little tiny everything. And that's what that's about.
Which is more expense.
Yeah, it's at some expense. So we have already, we're just going to repurpose some product that we already have in our district too. So I mean, we're very creative.
Highly more efficient.
Okay.
But you're in the long run more efficient.
We'll get back to that, okay?
I'm finished.
Because joining us now, and we are excited about this one because I've got a text or a direct message on Twitter from 2017 saying this individual would love to come on our podcast, and we're just now getting around to it. Please welcome to the phone former head coach of the Allen Eagles, Tom Westerberg.
Welcome.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, we're having a party here for 100, so thanks for jumping on.
No, that's awesome. Who knew, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't. Yeah, you would have bet against it. Oh, who'd have thunk it?
Well,
You never know.
we've been thinking about what questions to ask you, but I think what we want to do more is just reminisce, because you spent a lot of time in Allen and a lot of time in as a head coach, and a lot of time in some really good times. And so we've never really sat down with you and said, okay, coach, during your run here, what were the when you walked away from now? I'm gonna say walked away because I don't think he ran away. But what memories stick out to you as it relates to the time you were here?
And it's not just all about us.
Yeah, don't talk about us.
You know, the biggest thing is, you know, we spent 15 years there, 3 as the offensive coordinator, 12 as the head coach. All 3 of my kids graduated from Allen High School. And you have time when you get away a little bit to look back, you know, and what a lot of, it's really the relationships of, you know, we had a great coaching staff that pretty much stayed intact. There was a pretty good group of guys that we're all still stay in touch, and we're good friends, and you know, families kind of all grew up together, and you know, that's really the biggest thing that you take away, and relationships with the coaches, relationships with the kids. You know, watching those guys get the chance to raise the program up to a pretty high level.
Which you did. And so based on that, with 4 state championships, we have to ask you, which one was your favorite?
You know, there's a lot of them, but you know, what we accomplished in 2008, and you know, just the way it was set up, and playing Fort Bend down in Houston, and just kind of the way that whole thing was set up, and the events of the you know, in 2008 there was Hurricane Ike had come through Houston area, and you know, after living down there, I've lived through Hurricane Harvey, so that was you know, when Ike came through, and you know, just all the stuff of the 2008, and they, you know, we weren't able to get down there and go in the stadium ahead of time, and we drove down there the day of, and there was a big wreck on 45, and everybody was stopped on 45 at some point in time going down there right outside of Houston, and just the time schedule, and having to share a locker room with Wiley that nobody knows, and we were in a holding room, and they moved us after we came out at pregame, and they moved us to another locker room, and it was just a fiasco. Once we got the game started, it was pretty fun. But, just to win the first one in football in 2008, you know, I told that group that'd be something that they would never take away from them, and those guys are still pretty tight, a close-knit group of guys.
Yeah, we've talked about trying to do, I guess, a reunion type show and have a bunch of those guys on, because it's been a while now since that championship, and you know, you ended the 2007 season in kind of a jarring fashion, and I know that there was a poster that was done after every game, you know, with one of the photographers, and I guess y'all left that up all off season to kind of remind the kids, hey.
You know, we 2017 was very, very, very talented.
Yeah.
It was a very good team, and boy, we just if I could have hit reset on a game ever in my life, I'd love to have hit reset about the end of the first quarter of that one. But
yeah, we wish you could do that too.
Yeah.
but you can't, and you know, you live and learn, and you know, the next group when that next group of seniors with Stephen Terrell and Nate Bonsu and all those guys, Easy, all those guys came through. They said, you know, that's not happening again, and so they decided to make sure that everything worked out. So, and it did.
Yeah, it did, which was really cool, because as you say, the first one's always something someone will remember forever.
Yeah, just all the things that, you know, Tucker Carter coming in and playing 4 games and being the MVP of the state championship game, and you know, and when Matt got hurt, you know, that whole thing was just you know, another story in itself. And boy, Tucker, they won a big game last night. Tucker is Kyle Westerberg's offensive coordinator at White House, and they went up to Texarkana and beat Texarkana. They're playing for a district championship next weekend. So
that's awesome. Congratulations to them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a good one.
Well, Coach, we were sitting at breakfast pontificating this morning.
That's a big word.
I know.
I got you.
Yeah, he knows what it means, Nolan. But we went back and just started talking about you. It's like, okay, he coached at the Allen Eagles. He went to Barbers Hill, the Eagles. You're now the head coach at Salado, which is the Eagles. You know, where's your next Eagle stop?
No, this is it right here. This is the ending spot. My wife and I knew for a long time that we wanted to. She's born and raised here. I went to high school here. I grew up more in the Round Rock area, and my dad transferred up this direction, and I went to high school in Salado, and so this was going to be the ending spot. And I tried the straight AD deal for just a brief moment at Hayes, and that not for me. I'd rather be on the sidelines. It lasted about 9 months, and my wife retired when we went to Hayes, and what it allowed me to do was my mom had already passed, and my dad was in a assisted living down in Georgetown, so that 9 months let me spend a lot of time with him, being in the Hayes, this South Austin area, but we knew this was going to be home, and so we had bought a townhome here about 4 years ago and remodeled it, and knew this was going to be the landing spot. And this job I tried to get like 3 times in my coaching career prior to. Actually, the last time was in probably about 2000, right when we were in Garland, getting ready to come to Allen, and tried to get the Salado job and just couldn't get it, and for whatever reason. And so I've always wanted to coach here, and so here we are. And yes, I was an Eagle in high school, and all my head coaching careers, I've always been Eagles. It's pretty easy to break teams out. All you got to do is say Eagles. You don't have to remember what you are. Especially when you get older, all you guys understand.
Oh, we do.
Especially David.
Yeah, we're there with you, Coach.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, one game I remember is when we went down to Round Rock on a bitter, cold day, and the band wasn't able to travel to that game, safety reasons. And very good contingent of people went down to the game, and cheerleaders came down too. And I remember distinctly we had a great game, and we were singing the fight songs. There was no band there, and getting people going. And then at the end of the game, you sent the players up in the stands to walk through there and thank us, and we really appreciated that.
That was the coolest moment.
That was awesome. It was a deal that we got up in the game towards the end, and we passed the word down the sideline to as soon as we shook hands that they were heading up that way, and that game was I could write a book about coaching in Allen, I guess, and decision making and
well, why don't you?
That was a Steve Williams and Tom Westerberg decision that we were the only team in the Metroplex that got out of the ice, and probably, thinking back on it, I don't know how smart of a decision it was, but because once you got out, you had to come back. That was the hard part.
Yeah. And guess who these knuckleheads made drive the whole way?
Yeah, poor Mark.
They're all back there sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, and my Kyle drove my wife to the game, and on the way back, he said that was the worst that he's ever been in driving. And so, but yeah, getting out there and getting to play and doing what we did, and had a whole group of people there. Heck, my mom and dad sat out through it all, and my dad's from Minnesota, and my mom's from Massachusetts, and he said that's the coldest he'd ever been at a football game. So that's a pretty good deal. Yeah,
the vivid memory I have of the players walking through all of us, high-fiving and stuff, was one of them had a box of pizza in his hand. I don't even remember.
They wanted to do it after every game because they got pizza, they got hot chocolate, they don't know what else they got going through there. People were handing them all kinds of stuff. They said, Coach, can we do that after every game? Well, maybe not.
And you're like, if you win state,
we could go through there, go through the. Jerry's World. Go up through the stands.
And Bobby Evans' dad rode down with the Bishops, and he came in shorts and a T-shirt, and he was scrounging clothes from everybody to try and,
He ended up in a ghillie suit.
it was pretty funny.
Yeah, the biggest man there trying to get clothes from all of us little people.
Not gonna work.
No. All right, we've got to talk about it because it was such an important run, and we'll talk about 12 through 14 here for a minute. And Kyler had a quote, and I'm just going to throw it out there, and you tell me if it was true or not, because Kyler used to say it's easy. So was it really that easy?
No, it wasn't. There's a lot of things that go along with those runs, and there's a lot of things that go along with coaching really good athletes. I ended up being more into the game manager, player manager, coaches manager through that run, and you had to manage kids because we had some really, really good players, and you got to make sure everybody's getting their say and their publicity and their everybody's got to have a little bit of the light, and so it wasn't easy. It may have looked easy for him on the field, but getting to that point wasn't always the easiest run, and then just the pressure of winning. I mean, I spoke at a clinic and said I wish I would have, of that winning streak, I wish I would have lost a non-district game that didn't mean anything at some point in time in there, because then that thing kind of started taking a life of its own.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. And for him, yes. For everybody else to get him to that spot, no. It wasn't easy.
Which we knew, but we wanted to throw that out anyways.
Yeah.
Since it was a good quote.
Yep.
I
just went totally blank, so somebody pop in while I rethink my question.
Coach, I remember distinctly a state championship game where we were just loud and proud, and the band was playing like crazy, and the DeSoto coach asked
That wasn't state championship.
Semis.
Oh, semis. That's right. Semis.
Playoffs.
Have the band stop playing, and the crowd just went crazy. How loud was it on the field?
I said something. Somebody brought it up on social media not too long ago on Twitter, and asked. Somebody said, "Has anybody ever heard of an official asking a band to stop playing?" Well, I had to answer. I had to jump on there. So I don't respond to a whole lot of stuff on Twitter, but I did that, and I said in our game and against DeSoto they did, and I said it's the loudest game that I'd ever been a part of in high school football. It's the loudest game I'd ever been associated with. I said without the band, and so we play by NCAA rules, but in high school they kind of let that one rule slide. Colleges, their band plays up to the quarterback getting to the line of scrimmage, and then they stop, and so they have some rules that they can't do, and in high school they kind of overlook that one. And so
funniest thing out of that whole situation. Funniest thing out of that whole situation, their quarterback was still good looking at the ref going, I can't hear. And the ref was looking at him, your coach asked for this.
Yeah. So you made mention of 2007, you'd like to hit the reset on that game. I bet Claude Mathis liked to hit the reset on that comment about stopping the band. So.
Yep. Claude and I have talked about a lot of things over the years. So
have coffee, do you?
You need to listen to this podcast when it posts, because we talked to Corey earlier. He had a great quote about Claude and championship rings. You need to listen to it. It was pretty funny because you can say the same thing. So it was pretty good.
Oh yeah. He'll definitely talk about how many rings he could have won if he didn't have to play that one. So
he and a lot of other coaches down that road. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
we had it all going at the same time. That's what I've always said, that we combined an administration that pretty much supported us. You guys, a supporting cast of the parents, and then the coaches, and then lastly, as we got better athletes and better players, and the whole thing kind of gelled over the years. I mean, I had a chance to. Coach Whittington called me and kind of tried to ask, kind of how it was built, and I said, I don't know if I could even, explain it. It would take forever. I said, but since the day we got there, Todd Graham taught Allen how to win, in 5A at the highest level. They won, and then when Coach Martin came in, and I came in with Coach Martin, and he took it up to the next level, and we got to the semifinals that third year before he left, and so now they're starting to believe. And then it took a couple years later, we get back to the semifinals, and then a couple years later, we get to the semifinals and get through it, and just the run of the support from everybody, and we had it all going in the right direction. I know that.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and from all of us here, this silly group, we appreciate you for all you did for Allen, and you shocked us when you left, and we've missed you since then. We've missed you come yelling at us for doing things we shouldn't be doing, and
calling stuff up in the stands in spring game.
Yes. We would just do that because we knew that was the only way you would talk to us.
I got you. No, it was fun. I mean, it was, we knew after when Kyler left, it was going to be hard, but we managed to, what a lot of people don't realize, once Kyle Westerberg took over offensively, we actually led the Metroplex in offense that year for the first time. And I don't know if we've ever led the Metroplex as the number one team in offense, but we led it in offense, and we played two quarterbacks and played about, 6-7 different receivers, and we had it going until we got busted at the end against a good Westlake team, and Sam Ellinger, who's going to start tomorrow for the Colts. So
yeah, he is.
There you go.
We caught him healthy as a junior, and just didn't have a good game. We played bad offensively, defensively, and all the way around, and the streak came to an end. But anyways, it was fun while it was going.
Yep.
Hey, Coach, it's Robin. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
Good.
Hey, wait, before
My voice is awful. I'm sorry.
she's hanging out with us, that ought to tell you how she is.
yeah, that is.
I want to thank you for saying that it was your and Bubba's decision to make that road trip, because your wife was mad at me.
yeah, she was. She was mad at me. When I finally got home and sat down, she looked at me and she said, "Swear to me." And I said, "What?" And she said, "You're never going to make a decision like that again." I go, "Well, okay, I won't."
When she came back into work the next morning, I heard it. Oh, it was bad. I said, "Listen, we were just trying to support and do the thing that the guys wanted to do. And we didn't send the band because it was dangerous. Remember, team. We didn't send the band because we were scared if y'all didn't get back, that the band, we wouldn't have been able to put them in a hotel room. It was easier to put 200 football players in instead of 900 football players."
I remember that.
Yeah, no, that was a crazy. Like I said, I could write a book. I got a whole list of things I could write about of that era of Allen football. But it was a blast.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Nolan. I just hope she's doing well, and your grandkids and all your family.
No, we're doing good down here in Slato. We were trying to win some. We actually made the playoffs last night and didn't even play. So
that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. We got one left, and we could finish anywhere from second to fourth in district.
Awesome.
So we got one more game left.
Go finish second.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. See, that's easy.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time this morning. Thanks for being a part of this with us. And again, we appreciate all you did and all you've done for us over the years. So we'll catch up again soon.
Well, thanks. I appreciate y'all finally having me on. I said a long time ago I could jump on there and help you. But anyways, I appreciate everything y'all did for the program while I was there and supporting us and all that good stuff. And I'll always pulling for the Allen Eagles. Look for the scores all the time. So wish those guys the best of luck in everything they do.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Coach. Have a good day, buddy.
Thanks,
All
Coach.
right, thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. There he is, folks. Former coach of the Allen Eagles, Tom Westerberg, joining us. That was fun.
Yeah.
We got to call him back. He's got stories.
Oh,
And I think he's willing to share them now.
That's what I was going to try. I was trying to tell him the correct spelling of my name for his book.
Oh, I got his number
we
now.
need to get him a ghostwriter. We need to get, what's his name?
Yeah.
That'll blow his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's your book writer right there.
Yeah.
So call Tom. I got
Let's
to
do it. Yeah.
Cody can get it taken care of. Well, that was fun.
Super fun.
He's never been that open with us about it. That was pretty cool that he.
And I like
And
that
his
he
tone.
brought, I like that he brought up the
Spring
thing
game.
about when he called us out.
Yeah.
Don't be putting nothing on the board.
I've never seen a coach hop a chain link fence as quick as he did to get to us that morning.
Yeah, I was closest to him. I said, it wasn't me.
Ratted us out. Jeez.
David's like distancing so much.
That's funny.
It was funny. What was funny is that he did it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh!"
I will close this practice to the public.
No, it was actually me. It was my post that got it. Because what had happened was it was spring, and so kids had changed numbers from the prior year.
Yeah.
And so on our chat board for the team, we were just saying, okay, so and so changed here. So and he came up and don't be telling everybody number changes and this. I was like, oh my God. And I don't think he knew which one of us did it because we're all screen names and that. But I was like, oh my God.
I watched the game.
Lucky guess on my part, then. Wasn't it?
They would have no part of that. So. Anyhow, well, back to the district. We got about 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, let me flip out. I got to go buy a camper.
Aw, good luck.
See you, Thad.
All right.
Right,
Sign
so
my
rock.
life away.
Y'all go through that door if you want. That way you won't cut across the camera.
Okay.
We've got a back door here.
Back door.
Good.
Back door blues.
You have been relegated to the back door.
If he knows how to.
It works good.
We don't use that door very much, obviously. So what's on the agenda for the district coming up? You said there was a bunch of stuff going on today. I know fan jams today.
Fan jams
Basketball.
today.
We'll be there for
Basketball,
fan. You going to
super
fan
fun.
jam?
I'll
You're
be
going
there.
to fan jam.
I don't think I'm going to fan
And
jam.
Daniel's going.
I'm going
She's
to
band.
band.
She's going to band
Oh,
competition.
competition.
It's a
Where's that?
Mesquite.
It's a Mesquite. They go on at 2:30.
Okay. Is that
Everything seems to
is
be
this a
going
UA?
on at 2:30 today.
They're UL competition.
Okay, so this is a biggie.
Yeah,
the
big
you may normally, and I say normally, for years they used to have it alternating, and now it's every year.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is the first year they've started that, so it makes it hard for
Sure.
pit bulls and all those guys because they have to have all the props and they have to be fresh, and they now they're talking. We got to have a place to store this stuff because they're trying to figure out a way to have some continuity in the structures they build because
Yeah.
they are building them from scratch. It's amazing the amount of work they do. I was talking to Tim Bray about it last night. So.
Yeah. Well, especially with the weather today too. That may be delayed if it's still raining. Is that-
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was
Stopped at
misting.
7 this morning.
Yeah, it was just kind of misting outside when I pulled in.
Yeah, those woodwinds can't handle all that. But fan jam's going on, band's going on, and there's something going on at
Over Steam, yeah. So we have a festival going on out there. We have a lot of vendors. A lot of it's kind of a
Their
food
fall fest.
but there's going to be a lot.
Is that
of
an open to the public?
It is
event?
free and open to the public. It's
Awesome,
going to be all around that beautiful walk area.
Yeah.
And out by the pond in the back, and
So
teach
you
your kids how to
can
fish.
you tour in there and stuff, or?
I think that they'll have generally it's open because
Okay.
when I went last year it was open.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's any.
So I haven't had a
restrictions.
chance to go tour it, so that'd be a
Oh
great
my
opportunity.
gosh, you got it.
They're doing a farmer's
Anytime.
market
Reason they
too.
keep you
Yeah,
out
farmer's market. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Steam. So that'll be in the
So
parking
they partnered
lot.
with the city
What does the
to
switch
get some stuff going for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
This can be really useful when people tune in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The podcast is out.
Good point.
What are we doing next week?
I don't care about Tuesday. I want to know for me today.
Yeah, just live.
Yeah, there's a good reason.
Raise our
Yeah, there is a good reason.
I asked that question too.
You did.
You need to mute. If we go live, we have to have a 5-second delay mute.
We don't have the delay set up on this stuff yet.
See,
so.
it's always the younger ones that bring us back to reality.
Well, I'm going to ask you guys a question about this being your
We didn't do
100th
it.
100th podcast. Which one has been your favorite? And, what do you think that you've brought to our community that value add?
Debauchery doesn't count.
Value add.
My favorite, I think, it might be a couple of y'all's, is when we had Tepper on from Dave's Campbell. Just for the simple fact that the insight that he had and the stories that he could tell about, not just because of the teams that we frequented and seen, but just the history, his passion and his love of the game throughout about high school football in the state of Texas was just, I was in awe of his, that mind of his and all that information he was able to keep. It was a cool and I mean, it was a 2.5 hour long podcast, if I remember right. He
was long.
just kept going. He's like, oh, I got time. We're like, okay.
Yeah, his knowledge, because again, we're Allen focused, and then we'll branch out into district some. But when you get beyond that, we pay attention, but we don't know the depth. Because those guys go from 6-man all the way to 6A,
It's amazing.
and they know it all, and they know coaches and they know players, and it's just to get a different perspective and to get a perspective on how others view Allen, which is always an interesting.
And it was funny how we got him on
interesting.
because we a few of us are on Twitter and we've maybe razzed some people every once in a while.
Every now and then.
And Tepper may have said something about his rankings or something, and I commented on it, and he's like, you know what? I'll get on your podcast to talk about it, and I'm like, you know about our podcast?
Oh, when
He goes, oh yeah, listen to it.
Or the baby present we sent him?
Yeah, well, that happened after.
Yeah, that after.
I think we've got to make a call in 1 minute. I want to come back to the question about what you think we've added, because I think we can explain
Why we do.
why we do what we do,
Right.
and I think that's important. It's a very good question. So we've got another call here. This one ought to be fun. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another call.
See how it goes.
See if he answers.
My man.
Yeah.
Fear the rabbit.
Fleener!
Hey, can you give me 2 minutes to get to somewhere where I can talk?
Oh my gosh.
I tell you what.
In the middle of
Well, I'm sitting in my office right now, but we got kids running around. We got 7th grade volleyball tournament going on. Let me get you somewhere.
Okay, you just pop back on when you're ready, okay? We're going to continue.
Okay.
All right. For those of you who may have heard that, this is Coach Jeff Fleener of the Forney Jackrabbits, former Allen Eagle offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Also head coach at Brandeis, and Mesquite, and Forney, who's been a very good friend of ours for.
What's their mascot, Dad?
Years and years.
Bobcats.
He hung up. He's
He'll call us back.
Okay. I know his mascot.
Say it.
Jackrabbits. They have got the coolest costume mascot. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen it, but it's a jackrabbit on steroids.
We got a picture of him.
Yeah, we did. We got a picture when we were over there. He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So cute.
Yeah, we'll show it.
Post it.
He's taking the needle.
Yeah. That's what they do over there on the south side.
Yeah.
That's actually West.
Jeff has been, we have followed Jeff since he left here, and we've gone to Brandeis, we went to Mesquite, we've been to Forney on our nights off here with Allen, and he's been a great friend to us, and him and his wife Katie and his boys. Another one whose kids are growing up.
I
starting to
know.
play ball.
Jeez. This
And,
makes me feel old.
The Forney community really likes him.
dude,
He runs up and jumps up on the stands, and they're all patting
Yeah,
him. And
the
everything.
kids, the relationship with the kids. Careful there.
Bio.
Geriatric. Whoa.
Alan's taking off over there.
He's trying to get back in the hospital.
When he first came to Forney, we ended up going down and supporting him at the golf tournament that they did, the
we
Touchdown
did.
Club golf tournament. And I think we all got a little sense that they were with some trepidation and they were a little bit on
were.
guard
Yeah.
because the way their old coach had left, and that was kind of a bad scenario. And we tried to tell them,
Thanks, brother.
you're going to like Jeff. You're gonna really like what Jeff is going to do, and now they've just fully it's blown up down there, so that's good for them.
Yeah, and I
I'm
think
glad to
last
see it.
night, I think we'll ask Ken. They won last night, and I think they clinched the playoff spot with that victory. So we'll,
Good for
which is
them.
2 years in a row after going 0-9 the year before.
Yeah.
Did they only have one high school?
No, they got two.
now.
North
and in
Forney,
fact,
North Forney.
he told
Oh,
me
okay.
a couple of months ago when I talked to him, when realignment happens, they're going to move to 6A. They've already reached the 6A numbers.
Yeah.
Quickly growing out there.
Yeah. So Forney,
Yeah.
they're now a 6A school playing in 5A. So they're going to.
Well, Highland Park knows all about that. type of
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
I think
cutoff
that
line.
It's a 6A plan.
Island Park +1, man.
Get people to divest so they can stay about it.
They can't fire any more kids out of that school. They have to keep them now.
Yeah. So that's happening. To go back to your question while we're waiting on Jeff to call back, what do we offer? We formed this group in 2012, and it really generated out of off the chat board. These two guys were really good friends,
Yeah.
Alan and James,
Yeah, since then.
Falling out.
and they needed they needed what they call it. They needed a moderator between the two of them, or whatever. So, but I was like, I'm going to find these guys, and I really had no idea who they were. And then at the Coppell game in 2012, I was like, I looked up there and I was like, I bet that's, and I just went up and introduced myself out of the blue. I said,
Yeah.
are you?
So were you still, you were band president?
Stereo, man.
No cool wind in my hair.
Here we
It's
go.
odd.
Yeah, you know.
Hello, Coach. We're back.
Hey,
Hey, man, thanks for coming on with us.
oh shoot, I've been trying to get on this thing for a while.
Bring
I
helmet.
can't believe y'all never invited me.
Oh, my Lord, you did not.
We are picky.
You know, we have a month and a half long wait list, sir.
That's right.
Yeah, we were kind of waiting to get that Forney helmet before we had you on, but
Yeah. We got
Well,
rid
y'all didn't come for a game this year.
our off week.
Same as theirs.
No, y'all traveled to Longview, and we had the golf tournament that morning, and I
That's right.
threw it out there, and everybody's like, "We're gonna be playing golf, and it's all the way in Longview." And
Well, I'm just going to tell you that the man, Jordy J. Money Kaufman, made a game.
oh,
There you go.
And,
all right,
He's
it's been good talking to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ben Jeff Fleener.
Well, Coach,
I didn't want anybody to think I'd changed. I mean, I got to at least give y'all some crap.
somebody has to.
yeah, this is our 100th episode of this stinking podcast we do, and we just wanted to reach out to some people that we've gone to love and to really spend a lot of time with as it related to their time in Allen. And as you know, we've stalked you all around the state, and so we got to get Fleener on at least to talk to him. For a few
Oh,
minutes.
absolutely. And I don't think people understand. I mean, between the people at Brandeis when I was down in San Antonio and Skeet, and even the Forney people, they can't believe that we've got super fans from Allen that still want to come support us. So it's been fun. It's been a great friendship.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it too. So
Especially since we had some success when I was at Allen and y'all didn't try to run me out of town.
There you go.
doesn't mean we didn't talk about you. We'll do.
Yeah.
So you're at Forney now, and I was just telling these while we were off the phone that y'all got the coolest dressed up mascot in the state, man. That he's so jacked up, it's incredible.
Yeah, they lovingly refer to him as the Roid Rabbit, which I don't know how good that is. But
He is.
the bad deal is when we got here, I think he was the most yoked up guy we had in the entire program.
Well, it's good to know somebody's caught up.
He's
with
the only
you.
one that spent time in South Lake.
Yeah. So
Shots fired.
you had a big game last night with West Mesquite,
No, McKinney North.
McKinney North, which you won. Did that clinch a playoff spot for you guys?
It did. We were kind of 99% clinched going into it. It was one of those, well, if, Tyler beats Longview and North Mesquite beats Lancaster type of deal, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But you know, it was crazy. And I mean, I know y'all saw it with y'all's game as well. I mean, we had 3 separate lightning delays.
Yeah.
You know, and it rained from the time we got off the bus to the time we got back on after the game.
So y'all played in McKinney.
Yes, we played in McKinney. Got all the way through pregame. Was just wrapping up the pregame speech to send them out the door to the tunnel, and they shut us off for the lightning and had ended up being about 45 minutes. There was one reset. Go back out. We kicked the ball off, and we decided to just squib one right down the middle. Well, it takes the perfect hop over the turner's head. He goes back, tries to get it. We tackle him for a safety. We're up 2-0. They line back up to kick after the safety. They pull us off the field again.
Oh, dude.
And then we get back out there for about 10 minutes, and then they pulled us off again. It was brutal.
So what time did you get done last night?
Got done after 11, but, you know, by the time we left to come back home, I bet we didn't get back into Forney until almost 12:45.
Wow.
But I'll say this, probably the one enjoyable part of it is halftime was only 15 minutes long, so that was a little bit different.
Yeah, we asked Coach Wigg about halftime because they went a full 28 here in Allen, and he said, well, I asked the Prosper coach to reduce it. He wouldn't do it, so.
Yeah, he wanted the 28.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Well, see, did they have bands at all?
No.
Neither of our bands came.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was a bandless night.
Yeah, those woodwinds can't stand that.
Yep. All right, Coach.
Take us back, man. Take us back.
So let's talk about your time in Allen, and we've had Corey on, and we just got off the phone with Tom, so we've kind of got their perspective on things. And when you look back at your time at Allen, what are some of the memories that really stick out to you?
Oh man, I mean it's really funny just thinking back to getting there in 2006. You know, as crazy as that whole thing happened of me even getting the job out there, you know, I was 26 years old, and all I knew about Allen is I'd watched him played 2 playoff games and had the largest band I'd ever seen in my life. But you know, just going out there and thinking, the very first game we played the Tom Landry Classic in 2006 against Garland, and it comes down, they kick a field goal as time expires to win it, and we're playing at SMU in front of about 15,000 people, and I couldn't figure out how in the world I'd gotten to be a part of something like that, and it was just an unbelievable experience from the time we walked in the door. And you know, people ask me all the time about my time in Allen, and I tell them the craziest thing is as it gets bigger and bigger, and everybody complains about how many kids are in that school, it is the most Friday Night Lights town you'll ever feel. I mean, just from the community, everybody in town's rooting for Allen. You know, and it's just it's kind of one of those just crazy things that people from the outside just don't understand it. But you know, things that stick out in my mind, you know, that first year making that first run and playing 15 games, you know, Nathan Dick's quarterback and had a young team, you know, and getting on that run. You know, the first championship in 08, you know, with just what a crazy story and ride that was, with Matt Brown getting hurt in that second round playoff game, and Tucker Carter, the backup quarterback, coming in. You know, hey, here you go, first start as the Allen quarterback. Your Thanksgiving weekend at Old Texas Stadium against Odessa Permian. Go get it, buddy.
Yeah, good luck.
You'll do fine.
Yeah, and then following that up with, you know, playing Euless Trinity, #1 team in the state that we had lost to earlier that year, and talk about a game that we didn't want to go to halftime. I still remember Tom and I talking about, like, we didn't want to go in at half. We were up 3 scores, and we're playing lights out. We're like, no, we're good. Can we just stay out here and keep playing? You know, and then the wind game against Round Rock Stony Point and Waco, and throwing the bomb to Dakari Petchakonis with, you know, just a minute and a half left into the wind to seal that one, and then go play Hightower, and, you know, sew up that first championship that I think a lot of people outside of Allen forget that we won one before the Kyler Murray days. So, but then, I mean, just some great people and great fun. You know, even after that year, you know, another year with Tucker and Matt, and then, you know, Alec Morris for a couple of years, and those years in there where we just couldn't get past that second round between Southlake and Trinity. But man, we had some unbelievable teams and battles, and, you know, the names of some guys through those first few years of
Easy, T. Ellis, Dan Buckner, to, the Dakari, Bradley Waddell, Marcus Thomas, an Easy senior year, and then you roll into Alec Morris's years and Andrew Rodriguez, just being a dude for us for a few years. And then, I think people lose sight of how much fun and how we, that program built before we got to the Kyler days. And then, what can you say about winning 43 games in a row? That's a whole lot of fun. So, and trying to pick out times from there is hard. Just that, people ask stories obviously about Kyler all the time. And I just don't think they understand just how much fun we had those 3 years. And a lot of it was because our kids were just wired those 3 years that our practices were awesome. Like, we were never pulling teeth to get kids to practice hard or work hard or show up for workouts. I mean, those guys genuinely wanted to be there, and it never felt like a grind during those 3 years. But, some crazy games during those years, and just to think back on those. And then that last year I was there, that 14, and just the gauntlet we went through in the playoffs, and just, battle after battle after battle. And, people ask me if you could just watch one game back from that year, it'd be that Skyline game in 2014. Down 18 points with into the third quarter, and end up somehow winning by 18 points.
You may not know this story. Let's stop right here for a second. I don't mean to interrupt you, but there in the stands, we actually got to sit with the school board that night, and as we got down, there was a bet made that said, if we come back and win this game, somebody gets to kiss the superintendent, who was, Dr. Hint at that time. And so there is video evidence.
And he accepted it.
Yeah. So there's video evidence and pictures of that occurring.
You wonder how we became such good friends. Hello. Been close ever since.
So thank you for that moment, Jeff. Y'all were responsible.
Well, I noticed pretty soon after is when Dr. Hint left. Afraid of, anything coming back on that.
Well, it was Nolan, so there you go.
Yeah.
Well, he's he kiss a pig,
Watch it.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that story had to be thrown in there in case you didn't know.
Oh yeah. Well, the other great one was the battle against DeSoto over at Mesquite Memorial, and the people that left the stadium.
Yeah, that was the best game I've ever seen.
And missed a comeback and couldn't come back in.
Yeah.
Never give up.
And we lost a tent.
We lost a tent.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that game will live in infamy as well. And,
Yeah. Well, I just think that people don't realize how much we had worked on that punt that would get back. I mean, y'all think that's luck. I mean, we really worked that every Thursday during the special teams workout. So.
Okay, he's going to punt it. It's going to go backwards.
Yeah.
That's right. So, you just got to be prepared for all scenarios. So.
Love the way you coach there, Coach. Oh, man. Well, you did get 3 state championships out of it. Was it, or 4 actually. Was 08 your favorite?
Well, they all were pretty special, because, 08 just being the first one. And, it's funny, me kind of coming in 06 as the one kind of new guy that was adding in. You could tell the work that had gone in, as it went from Coach Martin to Tom, and, it was starting to build into what everybody really thought Allen could be. And so just kind of being a part of that, and just, seeing, really my favorite that night after the game was seeing Bubba. In Houston, in the hotel room, he had all the coaches down, and just the joy on that guy's face, who, if you think of Allen, America, that's the first guy I think of. And just how happy he was, and just the work it took to build that. And then, and then continue to have success. And then, then you go to 2012, 12, 13, and 14 is, 12 was the very first year I was 100% calling the offense, that Tom had kind of backed out of it. And so, that was, I always pointed out that it was really cool that he passed that off to me in February, when 7 Division I kids had graduated off the team, and we were in the middle of some crazy things. I told my wife after that spring, I said, he's going to fire me because we were awful that spring. We didn't know what we're doing. And, lo and behold, nice little present in August that, Kyler walked through the door. But, that one was kind of special to me because it was, we got to run it. And I always appreciated that, Tom, it was a big deal to him to say, if I'm turning it over to you, I'm backing out of it. Like, I'm not going to come into those offensive meetings. I just want to know what the game plan is. And, it really gave us a lot of confidence in, especially working with a guy like Mike Carter, who been, for however many years that I really didn't have to worry too much about what the run game was because he was going to handle that part. And I guess he was the run game coordinator before that was a thing, so that first one was special. And then, 2013 was special because, being national champions, which that I don't know if there'll ever be a team as good as that 2013 team was when you look at the defensive side also. And then 2014 was just kind of the icing on the cake of wanting to go out, Kyler's senior year and go do it and end on top. And I think one of my favorite memories from that was at the very end of that Cy Ranch State Championship game when, Tom and I kind of talked about that, sending Kyler out there for one play so that we could pull him off the field. And man, that the ovation he got coming off the field was, it was just awesome to see.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was a very special moment, and we appreciate y'all doing that for him because it did it for us too. Gave us a chance to, say goodbye as it is.
And y'all remember Kyler. He's still to this day. He doesn't like doing interviews. He doesn't like the media stuff. He doesn't. That's the bad thing is because people just fill in the blanks with whatever they want to say about him. But he needed to know how much he was appreciated by those fans during those years and those families and the coaches and just all of the work because we tell people all the time is he wasn't a loud rah guy, but he was easily the most competitive person I've ever been around. But even more than that, he had that same competitive nature every day at practice. And he would call guys out and there's just so much that went into doing what we did just because he refused to let anybody go halfway.
When even starting out, I know you and I had some conversations via email that kind of blossomed, into a little bit more of a friendship for all of us. But, you relate a couple of instances where Kyler and Jalen and so there was a little freelancing going on out there where he was calling his own plays.
Well, it really wasn't calling his own plays as much as we gave him some freedom, and that's just and it's almost it's crazy. You talk to people about how Leach and Lincoln Riley do some stuff is they meet so much through the week and tell quarterbacks if you see this, this that when it gets to the games, they give those guys a lot of freedom to check stuff, and so we didn't just turn the keys over to them, but there was a lot of plays where I said, hey. In this one right here, if you see something over there with Jalen, y'all, you can check to a slant route, to a pivot route, to a post route if you see it, and it's kind of, we kind of got it called it just a green light, where I just give them a signal, hey, you got a green light if you see something over there you like, and
Jeff, is that the situation? Is that the situation in Cowboy Stadium when Kyler and Jalen got hooked up to? Get us in position for that game-winning field goal in that infamous game?
Yeah. I said, hey, throw that one down there that's going to bounce off that kid's head. Jalen, again,
I figured you called that.
It's another one of those things we work on Thursdays, balls tipped up in the air and stuff. You just got to work that stuff.
All I can say is you're thorough, man. Every scenario.
I just wanted to point that out to our 3 fans that we have.
Oh, dude. Well,
no, but that was fun, and I know you're probably trying to wrap me up. And if you haven't noticed, I can just talk forever. But
well, if you come visit us, we'll do a full spot with you one-on-one.
Yeah.
You're harder.
Well, I was going to say that I always thought the fun part was, and it's a little bit different, as far as, Tom was very tight with things, and, and as we kind of got later on in there,
I ended up doing a lot of stuff with the media as far as getting them information and things like that. And, you know, I always thought it was fun to kind of answer some questions that, you know, I knew you guys would have questions about, well, why do we do this or why do we do that or things like that in the stands. And I think it's neat to kind of involve people, and so they really understand that we're not just guessing, you know, that there's a purpose behind things. And, you know, people laugh with me all the time about, well, I bet you're glad you don't have to do a post-game press conference after every game. I was like, no, I'd love to go out there and be like, hey, Coach, why'd you call this? Well, we didn't know your son that's the left guard was going to fall down on that play. You know?
So you didn't practice that at each practice, huh?
Yeah. So, but no, I always enjoyed our friendship, and you know, and just being able to explain some things, and you know, get excited to have many more years doing that.
Yeah, we will certainly get back with you after the season's over, and we'll get you out here, and you can come out and we'll talk for as long as you want to talk about things, because we do have a lot of questions, and you can explain things to us about somebody else that we don't know, so that'll help too.
Hey, not on the record. What on that deal? I don't know.
Well, we like off the record stuff too, because those are pretty funny stories as well.
But hey, as long as somebody's cooking or smoking some brisket or something,
There you
I'll be
go.
there.
All right, buddy, we'll make it happen. Okay.
All right. Hey, it's great to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations on number 100, by the way.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
See you, Jeff.
Go Rabbits.
Talk to y'all.
All right, bye-bye.
Go Bobcats.
Okay, we got one more call, and then we can. What? Yeah.
Who could there possibly be?
Then we can
This
follow up.
You asked who our favorite guest was. This is probably mine.
Oh,
We get Kyler?
No. Like you said, he's so surly with the media. That's not his gig. This is everybody's favorite.
he's kind of surly.
Yeah, Coach. Keeps popping sorry, guys.
Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can find it here, because I told him 10:30ish. So
Ish.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's a great
he
interviewer.
is a great guy.
Hello.
Kris Cumnock, how are you, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
Man,
Great, good.
we have had a good morning. Just to let you know, we have Dr. Bullock and Amy Gnadt are sitting here with us. So
Hey, Chris.
No way. What a honor
up?
to be on with
Oh,
those
brother.
guys.
isn't it amazing we got them to come out here?
Had to pay.
Man.
Chris, you got a little something on your nose, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. So who'd you had on as guest prior to this?
Well, we had Corey Cain on, we had Westerberg on, we had Fleener on. We were going to have Diggs on, but he doesn't get up till noon on Saturdays. But he sent us a little video or a audio clip that is just hilarious. We'll play it here in a little bit. And then we've got Amy and Robin on here with us. So
Wow. Well, can I critique your show real quick?
yeah, by all
Had
means.
me on first,
Why is that?
because then you get better as you go.
Oh, dude.
Kind of a downer.
I saved you for last because you're the best.
He did. When you go back and watch it, he said, this is one of my favorites right here.
Yeah.
So you're gonna hear that.
Yeah, we you've and honestly, now that you're here this time, you've been the guest that's been on the podcast more than anybody else. So that right
Really?
there,
Wow.
that tells you something.
Every year.
Wow.
So
Well,
how are things in the Cumnock household with the new gig and everything?
you know, things are good. Things are good. I went to work for, I'm still doing a lot of what I was doing, particularly with Alan, but I went to work for a lot of years knowing exactly what I was doing. And so for about 2 months now, I've gone to work trying to figure out what I'm doing, but I think I'm starting to get that figured out. And Allen High School, I got to brag on Allen for a second. They took part in our first annual fundraising challenge. They beat South Lake Carroll and won the Luke Laufenberg Trophy yesterday. Babe Laufenberg's son Luke passed away from a pediatric cancer a couple years ago, and Allen High School, the kids over there came up with amazing
fundraising ideas, and a lot of people can come up with ideas, and then the hard part's implementing them, and they did, and they've got tremendous support from the administration over there, the teachers, the community, and they raised over $14,000, and
wow,
that's going to make a huge difference to a lot of families who are really struggling, with a pediatric cancer diagnosis, and they're in the hospital day after day after day with treatments, just trying to get their son or daughter well. And so what a tremendous impact. And so I had to brag on them for just a second there. Just amazing, amazing kids.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I saw that on WFAA when you were live a couple weeks ago in the morning, and I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. And they had, they did like 8 or 9, 10 different things to fundraise. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they had some just some great ideas, and so anyway, it's such a positive, for Alan, and I'm just always amazed at what the kids in the community can do there. It's pretty special.
So when are you moving here?
Good question.
What's that?
I said, when are you moving
That
here?
is a good question.
Well, I told my wife we built 4 houses, and after every single one of them, I'm like, okay, we're never doing this again, ever. And so after this 4th one, I took it to the kids. I'm like, okay, if we ever start talking about moving or building a house again, stop us. You gotta stop us. And so I don't know. I think this is it. I've said that before, but I do think this is it. Do we have time for just a short rant for a second?
Oh, go, brother. We love rants.
Okay. I get up on this morning and I start reading Twitter, which is never a good way to start your morning, but I just feel like some people need to be reminded that winning a football game is not owed to anybody. It's not a privilege. It's not some right there. It is a privilege, but it's not some right that you're owed because you live here or there, or your team is this or that. And people have to understand when football teams lose, nobody feels worse about it than the coaches and the players, because they put in the most time. None of these fans put in any time during the week preparing or being away from their families, being out in the heat in, July, August, September, and through the summer. So nobody cares more than these kids and these coaches. And, I get that sports are an outlet for people that have things that are not going well for them during the week. And Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, give them an outlet. But if you want to call yourself an Allen Eagle fan, then you don't poop on your guys, and you don't poop on your program, and you don't poop on the coaches. These are your ride or die guys. And if they lose, they lose. And they feel bad about it, and the coaches feel bad about it, and they'll correct it, and they'll do the best they can. And it just blows my mind that people can't see past the fact that this is one of the youngest teams that is going to make the playoffs, and they are going to make the playoffs. So, that's another point. But it's one of the youngest teams. The coaching staff didn't have time with them in the spring. And if anybody thinks that that's not a big deal, they either don't know the game, haven't played the game, or just don't care, because that's not the narrative. But that's a huge deal. And it just, and there's a lot of good fans out there. I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush here, but there are some people that go on Twitter that need to stay off Twitter until they calm down and relax. But if this is your team, this is your team. So if you want to call yourself an Allen Eagle fan, then be an Allen Eagle fan and be supportive and be positive, and it'd be amazing, how many good things can come of that, because that's a part of the equation too. And look, we all have revisionist history. Every coach that's coached here before was the best, and it was better when we had this guy, better when we had that guy. And if they had come out with this game plan, if they'd run those plays, we could make everybody out there on Twitter a coach for a week, and they'd have the same amount of people criticizing their decisions. It's not an easy thing. It's an easy thing to criticize. It's not an easy thing to do. So some people need to get a hold of themselves and either decide, are these your guys or not? Because when you say negative things about the program, you poop on the whole thing. I hope that's not, it's okay to say poop, but.
Don't go way out there, Chris.
Okay, so that's my rant. I love this team. I love this school district. I've been with them a long time, done a lot with them. And so people can criticize me and just say, well, you're Mr. Sunshine all the time. Okay. Well, that's good, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna poop on this community or this team or these kids. I'm not doing it.
I'm with you, Chris. Chris, I got to interrupt because
go ahead.
I don't think a week goes by, that we don't see the complaints, sports or whatever else. And I got to tell you, the words that come out of my mouth every single time is they don't know how good we got it.
Yeah.
And it just makes me crazy that they don't realize what resources and what great people that we have working for our district, and that it just makes you crazy.
No, it does. It absolutely makes you crazy. And Amy, if coaching high school football or coaching college football, particularly high school, it's so much more about the periphery. Look, everybody knows X's and O's, but if you have somebody, and Alan does, who can build the program from the community up. And look, I'm not criticizing anybody that's been there before, but I think Lee's had to go back to the foundation and build it up and get the community re-energized and get and I've never seen these kids more active in the school with their teachers, doing things, all the things that he's doing with the sub-varsity levels. I mean, these are good things, and it takes time to build a program, to build anything. And the resources, attendance at high school football games is a problem everywhere in America. It's starting to be a problem in colleges everywhere in America. And everybody sits around and says, wow, this is a problem. And I'll brag on Robin for a minute. She saw the problem, and, she took steps in the off season to create new things and make an attempt to make the stadium experience more fun. And I don't see anybody else doing that. And that's the thing I love about Allen the most. Allen ISD, they don't sit around and just complain about things. They try to make things better. And, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask. It's all you can ask of anybody, is that you're attempting to make things better. And, I just, look, I know they lost to Prosper last night, and I know that's bad, that's a bad thing to a lot of people. But there's a lot worse things out there. And, this team's going to make the playoffs, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But you have the right head coach, and things are positive. You got a young team. You got a school district that will do everything they need to do to win, to make it good for kids. I'm talking about win, not winning football games or winning basketball games. I'm talking about just winning, graduating good kids and productive kids. And if people can't, just this thing that I said, that they worked with our organization, with Wipe Out Kids Cancer. That's an amazing thing, and it wasn't just 6 or 8 kids. It was a community. It was teachers at the high school. It was administration. It's a lot of things, and we could spend all morning talking about all the great things in Allen ISD. And sometimes a little perspective goes a long way. So I'll shut up now, but.
And that, sir, is why I wanted you on this podcast. and for some people that know, Chris and I had not talked other than I said, hey, can you come on? So this topic was not something I said, hey, you need to preach on or whatever. So we thank you for saying that, because you're right. It's all about perspective, and you can have thoughts and opinions, but there's a time and a place to display all those, and a time and a place to not. And,
sure.
Learning that for some people has been a challenge, and we'll just let it go at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you for that. We all need to be reminded from time to time of why you do what you do. And Amy asked us that question, and we're going to get back to it after we hang up with you about why we do what we do, and we're going to get into that, but we appreciate all you've done for the program. I have one question for you before you leave, though.
Okay.
Before we move on, is who's playing in the Landry next year?
God,
Well, not St. John Bosco.
More importantly, who's not?
Why not?
Not St. John Bosco.
Well, maybe get them to play Mater Day.
Yeah, well, they have another date with them coming up.
Yeah.
So those two are crazy good. But
Yeah.
So Lovejoy and College Station, it's year 2 for them.
Right.
Coach Wigginton and I are working on an opponent. Our discussion back when I told them that we had Mater Day and why we had them. I mean, not Mater Day, but Bosco and why we had them. He said, "Look, if I get it that a lot of state teams don't want to come in here and play, teams in state, but he said I don't mind playing out of state teams if they're public schools. And we're all on the same level. So we are looking at some public schools. There's one locally that I've got a call with a coach today, and there are a couple that are not in state, but they are on, it's equal footing. So we're running all the traps right now to see, who's available and who makes sense. And so I would say probably in the next week we'll know kind of where we're going for the Friday night game. But
Okay, good. We'll
I know-
Saturday.
Well, we'll look forward to the announcement.
Wait, no, you're coming on the podcast next week to break that news, right?
I don't know. I think people would stop listening to your podcast if I'm on multiple weeks in a row. Sprinkled in is good, but
If we get you talking about Claude Mathis, our viewership goes up, brother.
okay. Well, I can't. Yeah, I don't need to go down that road anymore because that possibly might be the coach I may be talking to today.
Oh! Wow, that'd be
Oddly
something.
enough. So
Yeah.
they don't get this podcast in DeSoto, do they?
It's blacked out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Well, hey,
Oh, that's
congratulations to you guys for getting up and doing what you do. And you guys have always been, more than kind to me, and I really appreciate that. And the Landry Classic, and that Landry Classic is successful because we're at $1.4 million in scholarships, and it takes so many people to do that. And you guys have spread the word, helped spread the word on that for years, and helped us do what we do. And Amy and Robin, you guys have been tremendous partners for years and played in it more than anybody else. And it's an honor to play at Eagle Stadium. It's an honor to have Allen High School in it. And so just appreciate all of you in the room.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you,
Yes,
and
sir. Thank you.
we appreciate you coming on this morning. And go enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, you guys too.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
All right, thank you guys.
Yes, that's
There he is, Kris Cumnock.
such a sweetheart.
He's a good guy, and he always has been.
He's all right.
All right, one little more thing to listen to, and then we'll get back to your question. Matt, Professor Diggs couldn't be here today. He does his dump every weekend till like 3 or 4.
He does what?
It's called the dump.
He calls it the dump.
On Twitter, so he
Yeah.
goes through all the classifications and reviews everything that happens and
And
wealth
so
of information.
I talked to him this week, and he said, "Dude, I just can't get up, but I want to send you something." And so he recorded this and sent it to me yesterday, and it's a pretty good listen.
It is the 100th episode of the BEBC BS Podcast this week, and I'm very sad that I'm going to miss it. If you don't know me by my voice, which you shouldn't, because I don't have a very recognizable voice, this is the Professor Matt Diggs, your favorite Plano East Panther, wanting to wish you all a 100th anniversary podcast celebration. And when I think of the BEBC, I think of wrestling because I equate everything to wrestling. And you guys are like the New World Order, the NWO. You guys are the bad guys, the heel faction that has turned cool just because of your longevity. We want to hate you over here in East Plano. We want to hate you as the mouthpieces of the Allen Eagles, but y'all just have this endearing quality that makes it incredibly hard to hate you. So on this 100th podcast, Well, I hate that I don't hate you, and congratulations, and hopefully we'll have 100 more, and I can't wait to be back on it. And hopefully, as I'm taping this, y'all are down in the fourth quarter against Prosper. Come back and have a happy podcast, since y'all have to do these 6 a.m. geriatric podcasts. So go Eagles. I didn't say that.
Go Eagles.
Wow, that was awesome. There he is. I hate that I don't hate you.
Geriatric. Let's all get out our ARD cards.
It's funny because my renewal came in the mail. So let's go back, and I'll let everybody else answer before I talk about why we do what we do, or because everybody has probably a different reason. I mean, we formed
the longevity of it. Just speaks to that question.
In 2012, and then about 5 or 6 years ago, we got our 501c3 status as a not-for-profit, and the genesis of this is everything we do for the kids of Allen. That's what it's about, and all of our kids went to Allen. We all graduated. My son here is an Allen graduate, and we just love the school district. And so ours is all about doing what we can to support whoever needs supporting. And y'all feel free to jump in.
Well, I'll jump in first. You know, I'd gotten involved, same as you had described. Basically, we love the community. We love the kids. You know, we would support our kids, but we want to support all the kids. And we also wanted to be a little bit of a disinterested third party. You know, we didn't have kids in the football program. We didn't have kids necessarily, you know, especially nowadays that all our kids have graduated. But we wanted to be a consistent message, a consistent voice for the community and for the kids, supporting them. You know, player parents come and go, you know, different people will come and go. We've seen multiple head football coaches now. At the time, we didn't think we would ever see anybody besides Tom. But you know, people come and go, and we wanted to be something that was constant and there and positive. So
the way I look at it, what we do, this is the only thing we do really that we publicize. I mean, everything else that we have done, it's always been, we're not doing it to make a name for ourselves or get our name and picture and faces out there in front of the public. I mean, it's just, like Mark said it, we're doing it for the kids, and it's not just the football kids, it's all the kids, all the student athletes and even non-student athletes at Allen High School. All of our kids did it. They all did one thing. You know, I was blessed to have two varsity basketball and varsity cheerleading, and you know, and everybody was, and people did things for them during their time. And so, you know, I look at it to where we're able to do things and help out. And we've done things in the past where we've helped out where, you know, where families couldn't maybe afford some things, and you know, we were able to help out with that and anonymously, and you know, and it makes us feel good, and that's all we care about. We don't care what anybody else thinks of us. So it's one of those things. That's why I think we do it.
Are we going around the table?
We it, buddy.
Yes.
And for me, it is how we started this whole stupid thing. You know, we're on the boards, and James and I started texting and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we met one night out in the street in front of my house.
Yeah.
That's seedy.
It involved T-shirts.
Yeah.
And
Plano City champion T-shirts.
Yeah. And to me, the thing that I love is, okay, I think it was like in 98, this friend said, hey, you want to go to a football game tomorrow in Waco? And so in my mind, not being in Texas very long, I'm like, Baylor. And so he picked me up, and the whole family's in his SUV thing, and we drive down there, and we pulled up in front of this little stadium, and I'm like, Baylor plays in this little you know, and I said, wow, Baylor plays here? And he goes, Baylor? I said, aren't we going to a Baylor game? He goes, no, this is Allen versus Lufkin. I'm like, the high school? We drove all the way down here for a high school game, and all I had to do was just go into the stadium and the introduction before the game even started, and I was hooked with this whole Texas football thing. And so I would sit by myself in the south end zone. I'd be the first one in line and go down there every Friday. And then when I met y'all,
you were the weird guy that everyone looked at.
Yeah, exactly. I just loved being together as friends, talking about football. And so this podcast thing was just a little appendage of us doing that. And so that's why I enjoy doing it, is just guys, like you said, James, no skin in the game. And off the record, we can say whatever we want because we don't owe anybody anything, and we can say what we really observe and what we really see going on in the community, school, whatever it is, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Cody?
You know, I'm not part of the club, but some of my fondest memories growing up is going to the double wide and sitting in the, those end zone seats that were those temporary bleachers, thrown up and being packed in there like sardines, because this is back 2005, nothing's expected of Allen, and just everybody going to see what was going to happen, and the community was showing up even though there was no promise of playoffs, there was no promise of deep runs in the playoffs, state championships, way out there.
15,000 we would fill in that thing.
It's crazy, Yeah. For me, it was amazing seeing that massive band. There was nothing like that, anywhere in the world that could compare to. And I guess part of it, the fun of it, was showing up and being hungry. You didn't necessarily know if you were going to win or not, but it was fun to show up and see what was happening and sort of dream of what was coming down the pike. Like, it may not be today, but I think there was sort of this feeling that one day it's happening in Southlake, it's happening in Trinity. It's going to happen here one day.
Yeah.
It's going to happen here one day again.
Be patient, support. Good
Hang
message.
on, enjoy these moments because, you can't always be on that run.
Now, you were in the band.
I was in the band. 4 years.
Awesome. What years was that?
That was 09 through 12.
Awesome.
So I got to see a lot of second round exits. I got to see some interesting quarterback play at the start of 2012. And then there's this guy who shows up and we're like, who is that?
He's a little skeeter bug, man.
But look at him go.
And he went.
Yeah. We got to play the fight song a lot that year.
Everybody's lips were tired.
Everybody said, he's too small to play in college football. Or he'll never go to the NFL.
That's the other thing. In this area, we get to see a lot of NFL players before anybody knows they exist, and that you just get to see these players who are heads and shoulders ahead of everybody else. Like, Kyler stood out like that. Jonathan Gray at the running back position stood out like that. So, part of the fun, you're getting to see these guys before you see them on Sunday. So,
David?
Well, the commissioner and I decided a long time ago, back in, I think, 2007, that we needed a date night.
Aww.
And, Friday night, so what are we going to do? So we
chose us.
We started, following Allen football, going to football games, sitting in the end zone at the double wide, which I really love because I'd run down there and get that top step every time because the wind was just great, blowing, and, you weren't sweating to death on it. Everybody's packed in there like sardines, and, it was just a good atmosphere. It reminded me of Salina. And how small that stadium is, and people pack 7 and 8 deep all the way around to the stadium.
Yeah,
it was really cool. And we were going to we drove to Longview for the first time to watch Allen play there, and we ran into these guys the same time y'all met each other at the Coppell game. So I remember giving you some zip ties for your flags.
Yeah, that's what started.
Yeah. And
zip tie
he
guy.
was zip tie guy, exactly.
8-foot zip ties.
And so, that's how we started meeting these guys. And then I guess our next game was at Allen Stadium South. And we were
Clark,
in the parking lot there. I was in the parking lot waiting on her, and you pulled up.
Yeah.
And then that's when we became part of this group.
Yeah.
And it's been great. the tailgates, we ask people to come by. People come by and stop and ask questions just out of the blue. Where do I get tickets and this, that, and the other.
We should be on the payroll for all the questions.
And we really like it. It's
well, the reason you're not is because you don't give good answers.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
We've had some good conversations. People like the Connecticut people from last night came up, and it's a really good time. And now I didn't go to the 2008 state game, but we went through all the 7 and 8 season.
Yep.
And the next season, I guess last night was my 191st game.
You knew you had
awesome.
to bring that up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but we have a fun time. She's right by my side every time we go to the game.
You're a lucky man.
She loves it, and she keeps us all in line. So.
That part's not true. Not true.
And I want to give a shout out before we go. I've got one other thing I want to talk about real quick though, and I want to say thank you to you two for coming.
Yeah.
We will have you back where we'll delve in more into stuff when you can talk.
Perfect.
And I know you and I need to talk basketball because this lady is a basketball fanatic.
man.
So in basketball, ranked number 3 in the state.
Oh.
Wow.
There we go.
I told my husband, I said, we got basketball, I don't care.
It's funny, y'all all talked about, and of course, I'm sure your relationship formed over football, but you all, and somebody alluded to it, maybe Nolan just a minute ago, y'all support all of our programs.
We try.
Y'all are basketball, y'all are calling me out when I'm not there. And I'm like, listen, I'm at choir, give me a break. But y'all
Thanks for taking it with
y'all
us,
are
though.
everything, at everything. And so we appreciate the support you show our kids and all that they do. You mentioned, maybe not even just athletics. So
Yeah.
And I'd like to say something on behalf of the school board as well, because that's my job.
Are we getting sanctioned?
you might be getting invited.
Well, no, you're not going to get invited. That's off
There
the
will be
list.
no
But-
special recognition.
So off the
But I
list.
do have to say, you guys are tremendous ambassadors. You with our staff, you frequently have contributed meals to our staff at the high school, special days, and you've always been there and always an advocate for all of our students, for our programs, and we cannot thank you enough to have a group of people that organically come together and just have the passion and the consistency, and 100 podcasts is an amazing feat. We hope to see another 100. We want to thank you for everything you do for our district. It just makes my heart full.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Appreciate that. And I want to say, and I've been thinking about all week what I'm going to say, and I'm going to try to not get emotional because this is, I hope everybody can find in life a group of friends like this. Because thank you. Thank you, James. this is turned, and I want to say a special thanks, and I know not everybody's wives are here, but to our wives for putting up with this, because
Thank you.
You hear about a lot of things that go on in the world, and like you say, this is our hobbies. It's not all we do, but this is a hobby, and our wives know this is our hobby, and they've put up with so much, and they allow us to do stuff like this and to go places, and some of them are a big part of it, and just for them to say, okay, we understand it's important for you, go do it, and we appreciate that, and so thank you to you two that are here. Appreciate that. And before we go, Alan's got a story I want him to tell that some of you may have heard before, but I think it's worth repeating, and we'll end the podcast on this because it's a life story that I think we'll share with people that means a lot. So, Alan.
Okay, well, let's see. So there was a girl that I met in high school and we dated, and I loved her family. And then my family moved out of state. She stayed there and went to school. And while she was there, a lot of guys. She's a very, very beautiful gal. She is a ballet dancer, and she dated all kinds of guys. In high school, she had a tough time because she had this nervous disorder, which left her left eye had to be removed. And
Quite emotional.
it's very emotional. Again. And anyway, so she there at Cal State Fullerton and was dating all kinds of guys, and we remained close, and before Facebook, but she would talk about how she was dating a lot of guys, and none of them just never was the one. And so then she got this date with this fellow, Ron, and he picked her up. They went to this restaurant, and when they got there, he had it set up, so I mean, it's linen tablecloths, candles, and all this stuff. He gave her this big bouquet of flowers, you know, because he wanted to impress her so much. And he didn't realize that she's massively allergic to flowers. And so she was telling me about it, and she said, yeah, I tried to try to breathe off to the side so I didn't breathe in the pollen and all that. And, but it kept building and building and building. And she couldn't help it. She went to sneeze, covered her mouth, and when she did, the pressure her glass eye came out onto the table.
So
and
not supposed to laugh.
And Ron being a good baseball player, you know, was able to grab it and just cordially give it back to her and stuff. And so when we were talking, they've been married, they have two daughters and stuff. See, Robin's very emotional.
Maybe.
And she said, yeah, I knew he was the one, Alan. After all these guys I've dated, I knew he was the one. And I said, well, why is that? And she said, well, Alan, he's the only one that caught my eye.
That's what you want to get on. That's terrible.
She was so serious. I was
That is terrible. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you too.
I am the same. And so if anybody, this was before video, if anybody wants to get the original audio, go to episode number 6.
Yep.
It's the very end of the thing.
Listen to the last 5 minutes of podcast 6. You will hear that story when it first happened, when we first heard it. And you talk about hilarity ensuing.
Oh my gosh. You could hear Mark moaning in the background. Because the whole time I started telling the story, and I looked up, and David was sitting there, and these two guys were just dying.
I think I went on a cursed tirade. Are you freaking kidding me?
Anyhow, folks, thank you two for being part of this. Episode 100 is a wrap. So until next time.
One more thing.
Oh, he's got one too.
We've got a long-time listener who's been with us for a while. We talked to him. He's been coming to the games. He's been on hospice, and so John Bell, we're so glad that we got to see you. We love you. We wish you well, my friend.
Yep.
We love you.
Do you have something too?
No, that's it. No.
Okay. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for coming out. So until next time, it's over and we are out.